Have you ever stopped to think that the most terrifying monster in Stranger Things didn't come from the upside down, but from an RPG table? Close your eyes for a second. Imagine being in your house, alone, hearing an old song playing on the radio. The clock stops, the lights flicker, and then you realize you can't move anymore. Your feet leave the ground, and the last thing you see are eyes that seem to have witnessed 1,000 years of darkness. That's exactly what Chrissy Cunningham felt. Chrissy's death scene isn't just a moment of terror. It's a statement, a warning. The Duffer brothers were telling us, forget everything you thought you knew about Stranger Things, because this villain is different. But before I talk about that scene that kept so many people awake at night, I need to tell you where this monster really came from. Vecna wasn't born in the Hawkins laboratories. He was born in 1976 in the pages of a Dungeons & Dragons supplement called Eldritch Wizardry. He was a lich, a sorcerer who sacrificed his humanity for immortality. In D&D campaigns, Vecna was the kind of threat that made game masters smirk while players panicked. Look at the irony of this. During the 80s, parents in the United States protested against D&D, saying the game was satanic, that it would corrupt the youth. And now, decades later, one of pop culture's biggest hits takes this RPG monster and transforms him into the most human and disturbing villain of the series. Human. That's the key word. Because unlike the demogorgon, which was pure predatory instinct, or the mind flayer, which was a cosmic force of destruction, Vecna was once a person. He was once Henry Creel, a little boy from Hawkins who discovered powers he couldn't understand. Think about it with me. Everyone who has ever felt different, rejected, misunderstood, can, for one terrible second, understand Henry's loneliness. This doesn't justify anything he became, but it humanizes him, and that's what makes him so terrifying. Monsters we fight, broken people who chose darkness, those make us question things about ourselves. Now let's go back to that scene, the one that changed everything. Chrissy Cunningham was the cheerleader captain, the popular girl, the one everyone looked at and thought had the perfect life. But behind that smile, she carried a weight no one could see. A mother who destroyed her self-esteem drop by drop. A silent pain she hid from everyone. Vecna doesn't choose random victims. He hunts people who are drowning in guilt, in trauma, in shame. He smells suffering like a predator smells blood in the water. And when he found Chrissy, he didn't attack her immediately. First, he made her relive the worst moments of her life. Made her hear her mother's voice echoing. Made her feel small, inadequate, broken. You know what the real cruelty of this is? Vecna doesn't kill the body first. He destroys hope. He makes the victim believe they deserve it. Eddie Munson was there. He watched it all happen. And there was absolutely nothing he could do. Imagine being him in that moment. You met this girl just minutes ago. She seemed so real with you. Vulnerable in a way she probably wasn't with anyone else. And suddenly, right in front of you, she starts to levitate. Her eyes roll back. Her bones crack. And all you can do is scream her name while the impossible happens. That scene lasted less than 2 minutes. But it changed Eddie forever. Changed the entire season. Because Chrissy's death wasn't just a scare. It was the starting gun for the biggest manhunt in Hawkins. Suddenly, the entire town believed Eddie was a satanic killer. The panic of the 80s, that irrational fear of D&D and heavy metal, took form and went after an innocent kid. The Duffers knew exactly what they were doing. They took a real hysteria that happened in America, merged it with an RPG monster, and created a season that spoke about how fear transforms ordinary people into monsters as dangerous as any creature from the upside down. Jason Carver, Chrissy's boyfriend, wasn't a villain. He was a heartbroken kid who channeled his pain into hatred. And that transformation is as disturbing as anything Vecna does. But let's talk about Vecna's power for a second, because his mechanics are brilliant. He doesn't need to be physically close to you. He invades your mind. He turns your traumas into weapons. He uses your own pain against you. And while you're trapped in your mental landscape of terror, your body in the real world is completely vulnerable. Kate Bush saved Max with running up that hill, not because the song has some magical power, but because it represented a connection, a memory of when she could still feel joy. A reminder that there was something beyond the darkness Vecna was showing her. This says a lot about how we fight our own demons. It's not with brute force. It's by remembering who we were before the pain. It's by holding on to memories that prove life can be more than suffering. Vecna hates this. He hates when his victims find light. Because deep down, what he wants isn't just to kill. He wants to prove he was right. That humanity is weak, pathetic, deserving of destruction. Every villain who believes they're saving the world by destroying it is scary. But Vecna is worse, because he has patience, because he studied, because he waited decades in the Upside Down, planning every move. And now think about what this means for the final season. 11 defeated him once when they were children. She opened the portal that created the Upside Down by banishing him. Every death, every tragedy that happened in Hawkins since then exists because of that battle. Vecna carries this history with him. Every scar on his body tells a part of this war, and he won't stop until Hawkins is completely consumed. The question that remains is simple, but heavy. If Vecna hunts people through their traumas, who in Hawkins is truly safe? 11 carries the guilt of opening the portal. Mike carries the fear of not being enough. Will spent years being hunted. Lucas lost friends. Dustin watched Eddie die in front of him. Everyone in the group has open wounds. And Vecna knows exactly where to press. The monster that came from an RPG table became the perfect representation of something very real. That little voice in our heads that says, we're not good enough, that we deserve to suffer, that no one really understands us. Vecna is trauma transformed into flesh and bone. And maybe that's why he scares us so much, because even after turning off the TV, we know that battles similar to his happen inside our own minds every day. But tell me something. If Vecna entered your head right now, which memory would he use against you?